We must also say that the results of Jorge last year were a little bit probably influenced by this situation, but you know, wow, he's so, you know, I mean, it's a first of all, it's a contracted to Ducati, is a factory rider for Ducati. All the riders from the Ducati Lenovo team and Pramac are contracted directly to Ducati, and especially this season, Pecco and Jorge got exactly the same specs on the bike, but not only that, exactly the same kind of updates when they came available. So you could see those wings on the front forks when we brought them to the first, I think was in Austria. It was for Pecco and Jorge because they were the best placed, and under this respect, as I said, I think Ducati is doing a remarkable job, different maybe from what people would expect, but everybody in the paddock knows that Pecco and Jorge, they were treated equally on the technical side, and they could count on exactly the same kind of material.
From Enea Bastianini's point of view, of course, not an easy season for him. Of course, the season interrupted by injuries. We did start to see the best from Enea when we got to Sepang. His victory there was incredible. How much sympathy do you have for how interrupted his season was? Because, of course, it was a very different motorcycle to the one that he jumped off the GP21. And I guess that first half of the season, what he needed was time on the bike, which he didn't really get. Yeah, it was not only that, actually. He moved from the Gresini team to a factory team, which is always obviously a target for a rider to be in the full factory team, but also let's not forget that his crew chief Alberto Giribuola decided to go to KTM, so he had also to find a chemistry with Marco Rigamonti, and well, just the winter tests probably were not enough, and that crash in the sprint race in Portugal unfortunately had really serious consequences. Obviously a collarbone can be fixed with the surgery, but when you kind of had this fracture on the shoulder, you just need to wait time and heal, but this is obviously taking time. There is also the muscle part which needs to be regained, and mostly track time. So I think he was missing track time to understand the bike, which is different from the bike he was riding last year, and also to adapt to maybe a different kind of different working environment. And you know, and then as soon as we started to see a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel, then the crash in Barcelona. So, well, very, very unfortunate. Obviously, you know, we know Enea is one of the fastest riders in MotoGP. He proved it last year. For sure, he can show his true potential next season.
We have to ask you. You know what this next question is going to be all about. 93, Marc Marquez joined Ducati. It's created so much excitement, so much anticipation ahead of 2024. And his first stint, 7 laps, Paolo, he was able to do a 1:30.6. Davide Tardozzi, he said, incredibly impressive. Danny Pedro said everybody already needs to be a little bit worried after that first. It is, of course, very, very early days, but exciting times for MotoGP and for Ducati when you have the 8-times world champion.
Yeah. I mean, they told me that you know, the camera could show a big smile on Marc's face after his first few laps on the Ducati. Well, it's no surprise. I think when a manufacturer is able to win with 6 different riders on the GP means that the bike is very good and is easy to adapt to different riding styles. So under this respect, I would not really was expecting anything difficult from Marc. He's an 8-time world champion. His brother probably has given him some hints throughout the season about how good the bike is and how good is also the Gresini racing team. It's a more of a family style environment, but with very, very capable and skilled technicians. So I think it's probably what Marc needed after so many difficult seasons with Honda. You know, we must say that you know, deciding to leave a factory team to join an independent team in order to find again fun on riding, that feeling that the rider really needs. I mean, Marc is not the youngest rider here. He's not that old at all, but you know, after a few disappointing seasons, I think he wanted just to enjoy, and I think he will be able to enjoy the Ducati for sure. It's going to bring some extra challenges to all the other Ducati riders because you know, his talent is is there. So it's going to be interesting next season to see. Probably the other manufacturer will be not so happy because they say already it's a Ducati domination. But what can I say? What can we do? I mean, it was his right, it was his choice, and for sure the best possible choice for Gresini Racing.
At times this year, from the outside, it's potentially not looked like the easiest thing to sort of manage that battle in the championship between Pecco and Jorge, two different teams, and there's been all the talk in the background as well about Jorge maybe coming into the factory team. So you've had to deal with that situation this year. I've got to say, you've dealt with it incredibly well. But Marc Marquez coming into Ducati, potentially, given.
Obviously, we need to show that we're able to manage. I think in the recent past. We show that somehow we can manage a complex situation for sure. The kind of rivalry between the two teams, between the Lenovo team and the Pramac team, even though we are so close. And let's not forget that we have 7 Ducati Corsa people working for Pramac Racing. So it's kind of factory team. And we have 5 people working with Gresini Racing, 3 with the R46, and all the riders, they can share the data. So it's something that Ducati thinks to be able to handle. Obviously, I think they will be very fast again.
He's about to go fastest Ducati, we think.
Yeah, the fastest first sector of the day so far. Let's just follow Marc over the line now. 9th place, over the line he comes, and he goes up into second at 1:30.222.
Top Ducati.
What's Gigi thinking right now?
No surprise. You can never say what Gigi thinks. He has this poker face. You can never see exactly what's going through his mind. But anyways, going back to Marc, for sure, it will be interesting. Probably some additional headaches to manage throughout the season. But as I said, for the show, to have Marquez capable of showing his potential is adding interest and spice to the championship. So for sure, it will be a very exciting season, and Ducati will have to manage the situation in the best possible way. As you know, on the sporting side, we always try to be super fair. Even though some people say, "Hey, team orders," team orders throughout the season. Because Gian Antonio could win in Qatar because he deserved to win, and we saw so many other situations. So, it's our policy, it's our strategy, it's our philosophy, and we'll try to manage it in the best possible way.
You're in a position that every other manufacturer would love to be in, dominating, of course, by the GP. Incredibly talented riders like Pecco, like Jorge, Marco Bezzecchi, so many great names. Now the addition of Marc Marquez. I know you're very busy, Paolo. We're coming up to a lunch break, so I've just got one more very, very quick question for you. Yesterday, it's been announced about the new concessions to help Honda and Yamaha. Of course, your success in some ways has driven this upgraded concession system. We read yesterday that, of course, it was a unanimous agreement with all of the manufacturers, so Ducati has endorsed it, but in some respects, people could say you're being penalised for your success. So, what's your viewpoint, or what's the Ducati viewpoint on the concession system?
Well, I think we always said we were ready to find a solution which will make the manufacturer in a difficult position, namely the two Japanese manufacturers now, to be able to catch up, because we don't want a championship where, with the current rules, for whatever reason, because they got podiums, because Alex Rins won in Austin, then the current system would not allow them to have any extra help. So I think we want a championship where every manufacturer has a fair chance to be competitive, and with the current level of MotoGP and the current previous rules